Hi everyone, welcome to Live Darts. We're still here in the Netherlands and we've got BDO Master of MCs, Richard Ashdown. Richard, thanks for joining us. It's been a busy time for yourself off the back of Lakeside. How would you assess the first run of the new regime as a World Championship?
Yeah, there was a lot of new changes, wasn't there? The TV production, I think, was really popular because we weren't sure really how it would go. The company that did it did the World Darts Trophy that was at the Lakeside a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But it was their first Worlds. I don't think anyone was sure how the production would come over, but I think everything's been really positive. Some fresh ideas, it looked really good, and yeah, it went well.
The darts as well lived up to expectations. From a fan's point of view, for me the real standout was the ladies this year, because from round one to the final there was just drama, some unbelievable darts as well. The standard in the ladies game is just rocketed of late. We
knew when we made the draw, as soon as Mikuru Suzuki came out against Lisa Ashton, because she'd been so talked up anyway, you know, the player from Japan. She'd come through the playoffs. We saw her that day in Bridlington how well she played. And I'm sure Lisa must have thought when that name came out, it wasn't one that she wanted. We'd seen her play well at the World Masters as well. So yeah, that was the first ladies match and it really got the tournament off to a terrific start.
Yeah, agreed, as I say, but just the overall standard of the ladies, there wasn't a disappointing game where, I'm not being disrespectful, but over the year sometimes we've gone, yeah, I'm glad that's finished, where this year I think as darts fans we were gripped from start to finish. Yeah,
I think it's a cliche now that there are no easy games in the ladies game, but it is true that it's not about 2 or 3 players anymore. Whenever we talk about potential names, we'll be in a discussion of who can win and you will hear 8 or 9 names mentioned, not 1 or 2, and that's really important for the ladies game.
And Lisa as well went straight from the disappointment of the world to Q School and was in one game of absolutely changing the landscape of ladies darts altogether.
Absolutely, and I think it show the strength of it, how well she played to qualify for Ali Pali, how well Lisa played at Ali Pali. Then she goes to Lakeside, goes out in the first round, and then goes to Q School against the men and puts in some great performances again. So I think that's evidence enough of how strong the ladies game is.
Agreed. And the men, we saw a record equalling, Glenn winning his third.
Yeah.
Again, breathtaking. And this year there wasn't that moment of danger. I suppose the Scott Baker game he's talked about, but in previous years people have had match starts against him. He's been behind and had to chase. So this year it was almost straightforward in compared to the last two.
Yes, but I think some of the credit for that goes to Glenn. You're right about Scott Baker. He had a scare, he 3-0 up, went asleep a bit, and Scott played really well. In the semi-final against Jim Williams, that was a terrific match, and there were 2 sets that Glenn won with ton plus checkouts.
110 and 115 were game
memory. Yeah. So what was it, 2nd set and 5th or 6th set? Yeah. He was 5-3 up. Could have been 5-3 down in one shot. So you're right in saying he wasn't troubled, but the performances that he put in made sure that he wasn't.
And again, the youth as well, young Layton Bennett. What for a 13-year-old to produce that kind of performance on the Lakeside stage is just breathtaking.
Again, like Mikuru, had really been talked up prior to the event, so there was expectation there. All 3 of the champions had to battle with that, and Layton came in just after his 13th birthday, as you say. The performance that he put in, and I love how he played. A lot of people are saying maybe he seemed cocky or.
I'm with you. Not
I just thought he looked confident. Yeah, I spoke to him about 2 hours before the game. So assured. He looked the part even in the practice room. I knew he was the real deal, even though I hadn't seen too much of him, certainly not on stage. I'd seen him when he qualified, but so impressed. I'm a fan.
And obviously the BDO is evolving, as we see in the new regime. Des has come in, lifted the restrictions, which has been a positive effect. We've seen the knock-on effects at Q School this year. So many going and trying their hand. Obviously BDO have lost the top 2 seeds. How do you think that's going to have an effect on the rest of the year?
I don't know. All I can go by is the past to look at the future, because we've seen it happen before and the BDO has gone on and new stars have come through. When the BDO lost Stephen Bunting, the same questions were asked and Glenn took over. So maybe it will be the same again. Of course it's difficult promotionally when you lose your big names, because your big names are what sell your events. But because the BDO want to have the mantra of darts for all, I'm sure their approach is going to be, well, it's about the next people coming through. And they will provide a platform for people to come through. So who knows, at the next BDO World Championships we don't see the next Stephen Bunting and the next Glenn Durham, the next person that's going to dominate.
Do you think we'll see the two organisations working more closely together now? The restrictions have been lifted, so players can come and back and forth. Anyone that losing their tour card also can now come and play BDO. Do you think that's maybe the first step of the two organisations working together?
I would like to hope so. I'm not sure that it will. I've always thought that they can coexist. I always kind of joke about it, really, to say, you know, if a couple get divorced, you can still look after the children. And I kind of look at the BDO and the PDC that way, that maybe if they can coexist from the grassroots, they both do their own thing at the top end.
Yeah.
But if they could work together lower down, that would work really well, especially for the youth.
And as well, one massive thing I think Des has done is ensure that the three majors are televised as well, because there's always that debate that where's it on TV?
Yes.
The Masters wasn't particularly well produced. I'm not being disrespectful, but I think most people say we love the Masters because it's one of the longest running, but this year was the first time where we've all gone, oh, come on guys, this is a prestigious tournament, and the World Trophy, so that's important for the BDO players as well, to have more than one televised tournament.
Exactly. I think it's really important for the BDO that it's not all about 9 days of the year. I'm quoted in saying this all the time. It has to be about the other 51 weeks of the year as well. And for the players within the BDO system, there are other opportunities. The Dutch Open is coming up in 2 weeks' time. It is still the biggest Open on the planet. In terms of participation levels, it's a real thrill for the top players to be there. Players like Glenn, Mark McGeaney, they're itching to go there. They're disappointed. That's the first thing I've heard from both of them. The disappointment, if that's the right word.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're going to miss the Dutch Open. You know, there are other events there that are very popular with the players and the fans, apart from the Lakeside. But yeah, you're right, the BDO World Trophy and the Windmill World Masters need their platform racing, and hopefully the television deal does that for them tournaments.
Well, so we know you work for both organisations as well. We're here at almost a mini Euro Tour out there.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Do we think perhaps the BDO could stream some of their events going forward, obviously, because we know TV deals are hard to get in place, but maybe have a streaming platform for some of the other events as well, other than the top three, because that, again, people watch sport in different ways now, so to be able to watch streamed events on your phone and tablet will be another great platform perhaps to look at.
Yeah, there are. I mean, there are already a lot of events that do it. You know, Winmore TV show as many Opens as they can, but the difference one of the differences between the BDO and the PDC is the PDC produce all of their own events. So whether it's Euro Tour, World Series, the Players' Championships, or the TV majors, it's a PDC production in terms of the people that run it, whereas the WDF and BDO events are run by the individual nations. The BDO affiliate those events, but they don't run them. So the Romanian Open this weekend is streamed, but the BDO aren't involved in personally doing that.
Yep.
So when you talk about the quality of the stream, it may well be very good, but there's no quality control from the BDO themselves. It's down to the individual nations to provide streaming, produce it and put it out there. So it can be a bit of a lottery as to how much is covered, how good it is. What I would like to see is certainly the high category events, that it's a matter of course. You don't get a category A+ grading if you don't stream your event. It should be shown. But we have seen a lot. The England events, they're all streamed.
Yep.
The ones at Selsey
on YouTube
and the Isle of Man. The Dutch Open will be televised. Scottish normally streamed. Most of the big ones are now doing it. But I agree with you that it would be nice to know throughout the year, like the Players' Championships and the Euro Tour, you just have your year listed and you know where you're viewing.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see.
Again, we saw you at Ali Pali as well, because we know you're a huge darts fan. The last month...
I'm a little darts fan.
The last month, we've been spoiled. We've had some marvellous champions. We'll touch on Ali Pali. Michael in the final served up a real treat, but we saw shocks galore at Ali Pali. Nathan Aspinall coming from nowhere to make the semi-final. Darts is in a real good place right now in general as a sport.
I think it will be a very difficult tournament to summarise because of the amount of stories that came out of it. But they still had the mainstay, didn't they? You know, we were looking at all the shocks, but everyone picked out that it would be Gary and MVG in that semi-final. The top half sort of run its course. Michael Smith, a lot of people tipped. He had to hang on to that, didn't he? The pressure that was on him because everyone was already telling him he was in the final. That, oh my goodness, you know, that's a burden to carry, and he did that really well. Nathan Aspinall, absolute breath of fresh air. We've seen him, of course, in the development tours, in the youth final. Absolutely brilliant. Luke Humphreys, another name to pick out. I'm so pleased for Devon Peterson, who's done it before but had another really good run against. Great to see him back on form. There's just too many to mention, to be honest.
And you must be pleased as well to see the BDO lads that went to Q School produce some stunning performances and get tour cards over seasoned professionals as well, because
of course
a lot of the, shall we say, TV darts fans don't give the BDO lads any credit when it comes to going to Q School and things like that.
Yeah, but it's a bit naive, to be honest. People judge the player by the stage they're playing on. You don't become a good player overnight. Another name we could mention, Ryan Joyce. When he's in the BDO, he's labelled a pub player, he's labelled an amateur. As soon as he switches, everybody's saying what a great player. He was a great player before he switched. You can be a great player wherever you play. You just seem to get more credit once you're playing on the Pro Tour, which maybe is the nature of the beast because it's the Pro Tour. So you're naturally given more credit. Doesn't mean that they weren't good before they went over. Labanauskas, Ratajski, they've proved themselves on Euro Tour stages before they've had tour cards. They're good players, period.
Yep, agreed. So looking ahead to 2019, have you got one particular thing you're already looking forward to this early in the year?
On a personal level?
Personal, professional, whichever.
Personally and professionally, I absolutely love the World Series. The opportunity to visit the places that we go and the opportunity that it gives the players each and every year. You're seeing on the stage in Australia, New Zealand, America, the performances are better than the year before from the players from that country. So it's a proven, it proves that it works, because the more stage time these players get, the better they're becoming. So absolutely look forward to that. The European Tour seems to be going from strength to strength. Like you've mentioned, we're doing exhibitions in the Netherlands. The scale of the sport in Europe is just getting bigger. I don't know where it's going to end. You've got European Tour events that have more people attending than Ali Pali. They're not even on TV, for goodness sake.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and on the BDO side, personal favourite event of mine are the international events. I love the World Cup. It's going to be in Romania, in Transylvania this year. The Six Nations is held in the Netherlands. It's always a bit special, something I really enjoy, and the players enjoy as well when they're representing their country. Different format, different pressure. They're always great events, and you're going to be able to see those online as well. So,
Richard, absolute pleasure for sitting down and joining us here this weekend, or this week in the Netherlands. It's been great to say that the three Kings of Darts have been special and just shows where we're heading for when exhibitions are like this.
Absolutely.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for joining us always.
Thank you.